Hi, I'm Mike Wagner with BCD Video, Network Engineer. Today we're going to be talking about how to install your Titan Series switch, and we're also going to cover the quick install guide that's included with the packaging. Inside of the quick install guide, you're going to find step-by-step instructions on how to configure and manage your Titan Series switch. First thing that we're going to start with is the power supply. These are included in your packaging as well, and they're going to be inserted into the back of the switch as so. Hear the click, and go ahead and screw this down. The tools that you're going to need for a simple deployment is a Phillips head screwdriver, along with the brackets included in the racking kit. Let's screw this down. And to install the redundant power supply, we're going to remove the cover here as so. We'll go ahead and do the same procedure and slide the additional 1,000-watt power supply in. We'll go ahead and secure it down using our Phillips screwdriver. And we're set. Now, for installations on a table or a countertop, you're going to want to ensure that you use the rubber foot pads that are included with the racking kit. You just peel it off as so, and you go ahead and stick it on each corner of the bottom of the switch for extra support. If you're going to be racking your Titan switch, you're going to want to use the brackets that came with the hardware kit, which are here. If we go ahead and turn the switch around, as you see on the front face of the Titan switch, this is where you would install your bracket, line them up, and then we're going to go ahead and use the screws that are provided, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that this is flush down. Screw it in to make sure that your bracket is secure. One key thing to remember is when you're installing the opposite bracket, our Titan Series switches have the operating system loaded on a USB that's located here. There's already a pre-installed USB cover to protect that USB from damage. Let's go over the steps to correctly install the other bracket. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the screws that are already in the switch that are holding the USB bracket. And you want to be careful that the bracket doesn't move because we still want it on. Then we can go ahead and take our bracket and we're going to line up the circular holes to match the USB cover, like so. We're then going to take the screws that were provided, the same ones that we used on the opposite side, and we're going to go ahead and insert it flush. Get them started. Snug it down. That way now we have our additional bracket installed and the USB cover is still secure in place. And that's all there is to it. We're going to head over here to the rack and I'm going to show you guys how we're actually going to rack this unit. All right, now that we have our brackets installed properly, as indicated here and here, we're going to go ahead and slide this switch into position so we can secure it to the rack. We're going to want to make sure that the switch is nice and flush and that the holes match up to the brackets. And we're going to go ahead and use a Phillips screwdriver with the accompanied hardware that came in the hardware kit to secure it. All right, now that we have the switch nice and secured, we're going to go ahead and power it on, and we're going to show a healthy boot. As you notice here, the LED indicators will go through a series of green and amber colors. This is normal during an initial boot of the Titan switch. Once the second LED indicator is a solid green, you know you have a successful boot up. And all of our ports are blinking green, which is normal for initial configuration. This indicates that all of the ports are shut down. This is by default. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start the initial configuration through command line interface. What we're going to do is we're going to connect our console cable here to the console port of our Titan series switch. We're going to use this for our method of communication with terminal emulation software to begin the configuration. Let's begin. We're going to use terminal emulation software such as PuTTY, TeraTerm, or HyperTerminal to communicate with our Titan switch. For this demonstration, I'm going to use PuTTY, so I'm going to go ahead and launch that application from the desktop. From within PuTTY, there are a few different parameters that you can set for your communication settings. Firstly, we want to make sure that the connection type is set to serial. We'll do that by clicking the radio tab here. Some additional settings can be found under the serial interface, and we want to make sure that the settings match up to what we need for our Titan switches, such as speed set to 9600 baud, our data bits set to a value of 8, our stop bits set to a value of 1, and no parity. Now you may need to check your device manager to find out what serial or what COM port you're using to connect. I'm using COM 6, so I'm going to go ahead and change that value here. Then I'm going to click Open to start the session. Alright, the default username for our Titan switch's logon is RWA. And the password is the same, RWA. Now that we're into our command line, we're going to enter 4 simple commands to activate the ports on our Titan switch. The first command is the command enable. The next command is configure terminal. Now we're going to indicate the port range that we're going to select, and we're going to enter the interface gigabit Ethernet command followed by our ports 1/1-1/50 and hit enter, and we're going to issue the command no shutdown. Now you can notice that all of the ports have now stopped blinking on the front of our Titan switch. This is because all of the ports are now activated. Now what you're going to want to do as part of the initial configuration is to either use the default VLAN 1 or create a management VLAN for your administrative purposes. We're going to go ahead and create a new VLAN, and we're going to call that VLAN 10. So we're going to start with the command VLAN create. Let's hit the question mark to find out our sub options. Okay, we can put an ID from the range of 2 to 4059. We're going to use 10. Let's take a look at what else we can do with the question mark. So let's go ahead and name this VLAN 10, and we'll name it management. Let's see what else we can do under this VLAN parameter. Okay, what type of VLAN is this going to be? Let's take a look at our different options. So we can create a VLAN by port, create a VLAN by protocol, create a private VLAN by port, or create an SPBM B VLAN. We're going to use a create a VLAN by port. So that command is going to be port mstp rstp, and then we're going to have to give it an instance value. And that instance value is from 0 through 63. We're going to use value 1. Alright, we've successfully created our VLAN. We can verify that by a show command. Show VLAN basic. And as you can see now here, we have the default VLAN 1, and now we have VLAN 10, which is management. So that's great. So now the next thing we need to do is designate which ports we're going to assign to that VLAN. And for this demonstration, we're going to assign 12 ports on the Titan switch. So in order to do that, we're going to enter the command VLAN members add, and then we're going to specify the VLAN 10, question mark, And we're going to put our port range again just like we did earlier. But this time we're going to do 1 through 12. All right, let's go ahead and verify that those ports have been added to VLAN 10 with the show VLAN members command. And as you can see now, VLAN 10 has members 1 through 12 associated to it. The last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set an IP address to VLAN 10. And in order to do that, we're going to need to go into the interface of VLAN 10. So, interface, VLAN 10, enter, and then we're going to set in an IP address with the IP address command. Let's set it to 192.168.10.1 with a Class C subnet mask and hit enter. Whoop. All right. And to verify that, let's go ahead and issue the show interface VLAN 10 command. This is going to bring up a subset of options associated to VLAN 10, such things as VLAN basic, VLAN port, which we've already verified. We'll go down a few sections to VLAN IP. This is where we need to be. And as you can see, we have that address at 192.168.10.1. The last thing that you're going to want to do to make sure that all of your changes save is we're going to go ahead and save our configuration. In order to do that, you're going to want to issue the save config command. And as you can see, we are notified through the console that the save was successful to intflash config.cfg. Let's take a quick look at the directory to make sure that that is indeed in there. And we can issue the dir command. We'll go ahead and scroll down. And there it is, config.cfg. Now we know that the config is successfully saved. We've activated all of our ports. We've created a management VLAN and associated certain ports to that VLAN for our administrative purposes. We're all set. The last thing that I want to show you guys is to shut down the system properly. We want to make sure that we purge any pending data that may be going through the switch at the current time. In order to do that, we're going to issue the system shutdown command. And it's going to ask you for verification. Are you sure you want to shut down the system? Let's go ahead and put Y in there for yes. Hit enter. And it's going to go ahead and initiate the shutdown process. This generally lasts only 5 to 10 seconds. And we'll be notified that it has been successful. And there it is, system halted, okay to turn the power off.